Take it away.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say we had the other footballers in here today, I hear, and got Noon sitting in the back. But, man, how about our soccer teams? Freaking awesome. I mean, just awesome. Coach, awesome. We got this coach's group text, and it's always fun, to see all the emojis and all the stuff that's going on when, you have a great moment like that. And basketball off to a great start with a big win up there in Asheville. It was really cool. Don Munson and Beret had where's Bray? Oh, you're awake. Okay. Them boys had a big few days back and forth. But man, women and men's basketball off to a good start, and our soccer teams. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to watch, and I think we got maybe one of the best lacrosse signing classes in the history of lacrosse going on right now. So. A lot of good things going on. A lot of fun this time of year because it's kind of you got fall sports, spring sport, everything's kind of happening all together. But we're pulling for our women's soccer team to keep it rolling, and for Noons and the boys to go get another one here. So it's gonna be fun. But great opportunity again this week. November is here, and we're off to a good start and got an opportunity to have a great finish. It's a heck of a football team coming in. Doesn't get easier. This is another elite quarterback, and I mean, this guy's going to play. This guy's going to play football for a long time. If good Lord keeps him healthy, he's going to play a long time. And so it's one of those cool opportunities to play against one of the best. He's a great one, and makes everybody. They got a lot of good players, but he's one of them guys that, he makes the coaches better, he makes the fans better, he makes the popcorn taste better. Everything's better when you got a dude like that, under center. So great player, and a great matchup. They've had a heck of a year. They're coming off a big win. We're coming off a big win. So, both teams will want the same thing. So we've got to have a great week of preparation. Off to a good start last night. Love Mack Brown. Y'all know that he's a great friend and someone that I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for, and always tough to compete against his teams. They're always well coached. And again, it starts with their offense. I mean, they're third in the country. So last week, I think that bunch was 14th in the country, and here we go. They're third in the country, about 500-something yards a game, and just do a great job with all their schemes. Run a lot of zone, a lot of swap zone stuff, and million RPOs and play action game. And again, you got a quarterback that. He's just back there having fun. He's got some toys to play with. I think this is probably as good a back as we've seen. He's elite. I mean, leads the league in rushing. I think he's second in the nation. I mean, he's elite. Tight end, that's a great player. They got them receivers out there. Obviously number 9 is a guy that everybody talks about, and as they should, but man, them other guys are good too. I mean, they got some guys that with a lot of experience that have made a lot of plays. They've spread the ball out. It's pretty well distributed all across the board. The running back's very involved in the run game. A lot of screens. So it's just a well coordinated deal, very balanced. And they've only turned it over 8 times all year long. So they've done a good job taking care of the football and got an experienced group up front. But tempo and trying to manage the tempo and trying to affect this quarterback obviously is the biggest challenge because they do a great job. And then over on the defensive side, saw some of these guys last year. So I think they're big up front. They've got some guys that are twitchy, especially that number 8 in there. He's great, big physical dude, great hands. I think all their backers have got a lot of experience. Those guys have played a lot of football and now it's game 11. So a lot of these guys were new in the secondary as relates to last year when we saw them, but they've all got a ton of snaps, a ton of experience. So going to be a great day in the Valley. It's a special day, senior day. Always a fun day to be able to recognize and honor guys that chose to come to Clemson and not only chose to come to Clemson, but they finished. And that to me is special. I've always I've always valued the senior. I think it's just something that's pretty special about, especially today, a guy who finishes. And to me, it's all about graduation. Football, sometimes it works out the way you want, sometimes it doesn't. This is a hard game. It's not a game with a long shelf life. It's not a game of longevity. And so, to see these guys come to Clemson, some of them graduating in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, and equipping themselves as men and equipping themselves with their education and just, a network and relationships and figuring life out. To me, that's a huge part of what college is all about, and I'm just really proud of them. Most people really have no concept of how hard it is to do what these guys have done and what they've had to persevere through, what they have to, everybody just kind of sees, you run down the hill and you get to, wear the Clemson helmet and you get a lot of good, cool gear and you play in front of lots of people, but there's so much work that goes into it that people don't see. There's so much, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of, again, perseverance. A lot of sacrifice and a lot of commitment that these student athletes have to endure over their time. And to see them finish this phase of their life, if you will, this season of their life, it's a special time. So, we try to do a good job of honoring them, and it's special for the parents too. Those of you who are parents, you never think your kids are going to get to that point, and then you look up and you go, dang, you're a graduate from college, and it's a new season of life for parents too. And Larry, you're going to be there soon, and so it's just a great day, because something is coming to an end, and you want to celebrate that, but something great's coming as well. So it'll be a good day in the Valley, and 3:30. So I know that'll make our fans happy. Everybody's been eating eggs and grits for the last, seems like, few weeks. So we got a 3:30 game. That'll be a great thing for our fans, especially with all the traffic trying to get in here and all that stuff. And by the way, shout out to the road people. For like 5 years now, I've been riding up and down perimeter, riding by all the road construction folks, and man, they've done an amazing job. I mean, I just watch them work. I've watched it kind of come to fruition, and I know there's some bells and whistles that still have to come. Probably going to plant some trees here or there, but man, it's a game changer for Clemson, and it was a lot of pain going through it, but man, it was worth it because it's going to make just the flow in and out of this campus so much better. Any questions?
Last year in the title game, y'all did a pretty good job defending Drake, all things considered. What do you think the key was to do?
Honestly, we didn't do a great job. They had 26 first downs, and they were 9 of 16 on third down, and they were a lot more efficient than we wanted them to be. I think he was about 64% completion. So we didn't do quite as good a job as the score indicated. The difference was they were red zone. They were 2 of 5 in the red zone. We had a block kick. We stopped them on downs. We had 3 turnovers. And so, they kind of like we've done this year. We've gotten a lot of we have 29 first downs against Duke, 500 yards, but a bunch of turnovers in the red zone on the one, and you end up getting beat. So, that's kind of what happened in that game. So we took advantage of turnovers. We hit some big plays. Obviously, we had the pick six. Was a big play, and it was probably our best game offensively. We played really, really well, very efficient. We didn't turn it over. I don't think we had any sacks. I think we were really good on third down in that game. So that's it. I mean, it was kind of a bend but don't break type of a night for us defensively. It wasn't a game that felt comfortable, honestly, because, again, they were moving the ball. We just held up in the red zone, and that was critical. So we're gonna have to do better. We're gonna have to be better. We got to be better on third down. We've got to defend better on the back seven. That was probably the worst thing we did all last year was our pass defense, and we've made great improvements. But this will be a huge challenge, because they are a big play offense. I mean, like, massive explosives, and a lot of it comes from Drake. I mean, he's a guy that he looks to run. He'll sit in there, and when he looks to run, he'll create, extend, he'll scramble, and then he'll hit a guy for a 60-yard touchdown. And it just drives you crazy. So you got to cover him forever, or he'll run for 20. He's just got the ability, and then they play action, or they'll max protect, and here comes the shot, the deep post, the double move outside, and he can place the ball where it needs to be placed. So, we gotta minimize the big play, be better on third down, and then we got to continue to, if we can, red zone will be a huge part of this game, red zone offense and defense. And if you look at us, we scored touchdowns in the red zone, and we minimized them and turned them over and blocked a kick.
Any distinct differences between Lindsey's approach and Longo?
Yeah, he's been around Art Briles. He's been around Gus. I've known Chip a long time, all the way back when he was coaching high school ball at Spain Park. He was the head coach at Spain Park High School, which is Grisham's high school. I've known him a long time, and Auburn, Troy, all that stuff. He does a great job, but you see some Malzahn, you see some Art Briles, you see the air raid stuff. You see a little bit of everything. They do a nice job, but he knows how to use what he's got for sure. A lot of weapons.
Dabo, can we talk a little bit about Mack Brown and just the importance of a guy like him on college football? And it takes all kinds, and there's a bunch of different kinds of coaches, but he seems to kind of be this same pillar that obviously the Beamers, like this group of coaches that carry themselves in a particular way, and his impact that he's had.
He's just, he's a good man. He really is. And, he's a guy that I had followed as a young coach. I followed him, I followed a lot of people as I was trying to navigate my coaching career and just learn and get better and, and just observe how people handled themselves, whether it was something bad or something good. And I just thought he was always a class guy, I just, and when I got this job, I've said this a few times. I reached out to a lot of coaches, a bunch of them, and he was the only guy that let me come see him. I guess everybody thought I was going, I guess they thought Clemson might turn out to be good or something. I don't know. Maybe they knew something I didn't know at the time, but. It's coaches, because a lot of coaches, they get together, but when you don't know somebody, most coaches might be a little hesitant to say, hey, yeah, come on in here and we'll meet with you and talk to you. But I just reached out to him, called his assistant, left a message. He called me back, and still remember the conversation like it was yesterday. You'd have thought I'd known him for 20 years. I was just like Coach Brown. Hey, this is Dabo Swinney from Clemson, and appreciate you calling me back. I said, look, I just obviously just got the job, and I just love to come out, and I just want to come meet with you and talk to you. I've got a lot of questions. I got a lot of things that I think I know, and I got a lot of things that I know I don't know, and I'd just like to get some confirmation and direction and just sit down and just have a visit. Oh, and by the way, can I bring my staff and maybe watch a spring practice day, and I got a new staff, and let's just kind of talk some shop for a couple of days. And he was just awesome. I remember specifically him saying that he had followed me during the interim, and he just said he was pulling for me, and he said, man, I'm just really glad to see you get the job. And he said, heck yeah, man, you bring anybody you want to bring. And that was just, and I didn't know how big a deal that was, at the time. And they were, so this would have been February February, late February. They'd already started spring ball, maybe early March, right there of 2009. And, we go out there and it was great. We got to, I had a lot on my mind, and just infrastructure, facilities, staffing, recruiting, just all kind of stuff, practice, discipline. I had a lot of questions, and I was really hoping he might give me an hour. Honestly, I would just, we got out there, we got a tour, we kind of saw everything. We met with offense, we met with the defense, and I remember I was kind of sitting in there meeting with the offensive guys, and he sent somebody to come get me, and just remember going and sitting in his. We met for hours over a couple-day period. And he's a funny guy, and I mean, like, and the best part is, and I still got it all written down. I had all my little questions, I had it all written down, things that I just wanted to talk about. And I'd get halfway through the question, he'd cut me off because he already knew the answer, and a lot of it was, okay, well, I'm not crazy. And some of it was, oh, wow, really? Because, they were Texas. And we're trying to, do things differently here. So it was just great watching practice and he took us all to eat. He took all of us, took the whole staff, some barbecue joint out there. It was great. So, I mean, I just, he didn't have to do any of that. And they were coming off when did they win the national championship out there? 07, 8? So when was that? 05. So but they had a good year that year. I mean, they were having a great. He had a lot going on, and it just meant a lot, to me. And I never forgot that. And so we've just always stayed in contact. And then when he got out of coaching, I think our relationship grew a lot stronger because, he was on the other side, and he was doing games. He did several of our games, over that time. So we had a lot of good conversations. He's just always been a good mentor, and he gets it, and he's at that stage in life where he really don't care, like he just don't care. Like what are you going to tell Mack Brown? He ain't worried about it. Like he's going to do what he thinks is right and what he thinks is best. And if it offends somebody, he don't care. And so he's just at that point in life, and he's earned that. But he loves the player, and he loves what he does. That's why he went back to coaching. He didn't go back to coaching because he needed to make money. He went back to coaching because he really loves the player, and he wanted to, do what he's done, make North Carolina, relevant, right? And he's done a heck of a job. I mean, they've been in the championship game. They're a great program. They've recruited really good players, and it's been fun to watch him have success. I don't think he wanted to. I don't think he was happy with how things ended at Texas, and so it was a good reset for him.
That's had an impact on you, though, because you and I have talked a little bit about this. But you invited North Dakota State down when you were the head coach, or when Chris Kleiman was up there, who's now with K-State, and he raved about that impact. And so that lasting impact that a relationship can have, and I guess I'm wondering how that's affected you personally and the way you approach coaches.
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to always respond to people, and we I mean, I'm not going to let Beamer come down here and hang out, but, I mean, it just is what it is. But I mean, we have an open door policy here. I mean, we have coaches from all over come, and I mean, all over, all the time. I mean, I've met with lots of head coaches. We go places. Sometimes we may not go there or here, but we meet other places. And, I think that's what's unique about our profession. I always have said that. I think the coaching, we compete, we battle, but, then we get together and we swap notes, right? Like it's a unique business that way. Coke doesn't gather up with Pepsi at the end of the year and go, all right, boys, let's see what we got this year. How'd we do? And, Nike doesn't call up Adidas and get together and, share notes. But football coaches do that. But for me personally, I mean, I know I've benefited because other people have been gracious to teach and help me learn. And I've always taken a lot of pride in giving back that way. That's a way I can pay back a guy like Mack Brown, who really helped me, is to help someone else. And I think that's very important. To do that. And just like when I was out of coaching, the 2 seasons that I was out of coaching, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I called. I didn't even get a call back. I didn't even get a, like, thanks for the resume, we'll keep on file, nothing. So I've tried to always be responsive that way throughout the years.
What did you know you didn't know on that trip to Texas?
I didn't know a lot. There was a lot I didn't know. A bunch of stuff I didn't know. But, yeah, I got all kind of notes. Maybe we'll write a book together one day about my trip to Texas. But, yeah, it's kind of cool, because fast forward, everything's turned around. We got a quote on our wall in there that says, we want to be like the elite programs in the country, the Clemsons of the world. And I think it was Tom Herman who said it. Anytime we get one of them quotes, we got a big quote wall. You've probably seen it in our building over there. And that's kind of a cool thing, whatever year that was when that happened, made the wall.
Tyler Venables, saw him back on the depth chart. Is there hope that he might be able to?
Yeah, he's back. They released him this week, so he's back and will be available. Obviously hadn't played, but he's did scout team last week. In fact, he was scout team player of the week. Imagine that. So that was good to see. Guys erupted yesterday when we did the honor roll. Everybody loves T-Bone, man, and he's been a coach for us. He's been on the headset. He's been working out there, and I think he's really enjoyed that. He's going to be a great coach one day. But I think it's been a good perspective for him, as we've gone through games and stuff. But he's excited. He's worked really, really hard to get back. He's been through a lot with his labrum and his hip and his groin and his torn hamstrings and all that stuff. So, we'll have him available and see how it goes.
Is Jalyn Phillips back at practice as well?
No, he's still out. We think Sherry has a chance. He's working his way, so hopefully he'll maybe be available.
Bumped Hanafin up a little bit on the depth chart. Is that a sign that more snaps for him to come on offense?
Yeah, it's just kind of Spector's out, so it's just really more a combination of what he's done. We really like Ronan. This kid's getting better and better and better. He can really run. He's figuring it out. I'm really glad we went ahead and played him, because even though he hadn't seen a lot, like stat-wise, we've seen a lot of growth and maturity with him and development. So it's really just, mostly a product, with guys being out, Cole out, Antonio out, and then Spector going out as well. So just kind of forced the issue there, but he's doing good for us.
Dabo, you mentioned on the radio last night you thought it was the most complete effort of the season over the weekend. For as turbulent as the first few months of the season have been for you, how rewarding is it to start to see a young team with the lights start to turn on the further into the year you get?
Yeah, well, they've been in position to win every week, and again, you just, to see them finish, to see them, win the turnover margin, and to see them get the results from that, it just that's contagious too. And you start to, play a little more complimentary football. These guys have competed their butts off all year. They really have. And then in particular defensively, they've been really good all year. And our scoring defense isn't quite as good as it needs to be because it doesn't quite match up. We're sixth in the country, but that's because we've scored a lot of points for the other team. So that doesn't help. But I'm just proud of how they've hung in there and how they've competed. And again, you lose in double overtime with 3 turnovers. You lose in overtime to a team that's probably going to be in the playoffs on a scoop score. Yeah, and you lose in a pick 6 one-score game at NC State, and you lose the opener with a bunch of turnovers inside the 7, with no points. And so those are frustrating things, but to see them kind of play their way through it, and now to see them, doing what it takes. They're taking care of the ball. We've really been a pretty good third down team all year, but now, red zone, we were 4 for 4 last week. That really hurt us early part of the year, because it wasn't just turnovers, it was where these turnovers were, right? These are like 14-point swings. It's not like you just turn the ball over, backed up and they got to go 90. You're turning the ball over as you're going in to score touchdowns, and just some really disappointing things. And it's just good to see them play their way through it and hang in there. And they've beaten some good teams, and to see them for them to see what it looks like when they really put it together is contagious. And so hopefully that will continue. And again, it doesn't get any easier. This is probably the biggest challenge we've had offensively. These dudes they're really good. But I like what we're doing. And then when you play well, and as I've said 1,000 times, if we can, execute our plan to win, which starts with effort. Guys have played hard, they've done that, but the next thing is win the turnover margin. And then it's 2 more big plays in the opponent. Be the least penalized team. That means we got to have good discipline. Let's don't have a bunch of stupid penalties. Make a difference in special teams. All right. Not have mental errors where we got a bunch of busts going on. It's kind of our plan to win. When we do that, we win. And that's what you've seen these last couple weeks. But this week, I thought we did it for 3 plus, a complete game with our ones. When we subbed in the fourth, we had some guys, kind of get exposed a little bit, which will help them get better. So I think it's great because, sometimes you just got to see it and you got to feel it. And, hopefully that will be the spark that this group needs to finish well.
Do you have a long-term sort of thought on or plan on kicker, like what you're thinking beyond this year after White's, I guess?
Yeah, we went and signed. We're going to sign we think the best guy in the country. That's our plan, to come and create competition. And then we signed Robert, anticipating he'd be the best too. And obviously he has struggled this year, and he struggled in practice too. So I mean, it's really not. Now his kickoffs are amazing. The guy's a weapon. But we'll see what happens. I've been in this situation before. We when was it? So 2010, that was the year that everybody, same question. What are y'all going to do at kicker? Y'all have got to get somebody. This Catanzaro guy can't do it. What are we doing? And so we went and signed, we think, a great kicker from Georgia that year. And what happened? Catanzaro still won the job, and then he left here as the leading scorer in the history of the school and made some of the biggest kicks in the history of the school. So who knows? But yeah, we address it, and I think we got a pretty good chance to address it. I think we're going, if everything works out, we're trying to sign the best kicker in the country, and if that works out, then you got great competition, and competition makes everybody better, and go from there.
Did Liam Boyd leave because he thought Robert Gunn was, I guess, the same reason why?
You had to ask him that. Obviously we had some, I don't know, they all make decisions for different reasons, but I think the biggest thing was just maybe in-state tuition, but I'm not surprised to see him kicking. He's a good kicker. We certainly wanted him to stay. He's a good one. We thought he had a chance to be a guy, in the mix, but I think he also, these guys, all these kickers know each other, right? And they it's like its own little circuit. So they all know each other, and who's here, who's coming, all that stuff. But I really like Liam. I think he's a good one. Matt called me at when is the portal stuff? When did he leave? Was it May? Yeah, May. When does it end? When does it end? Sometime in May, early May. Matt calls me at I don't even know, or maybe Liam called me at late, to tell me he was going to the portal, and then not long after that, Max calling me. Who's this kicker? And I said, well, you want him if you can get him. I think he's got a chance to be a good one. So I'm glad they got him, and I think he's a great kid, and good to see him competing for him.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
Let's just get an update. Antonio Williams is there still hoping playing before. Yeah, he's progressing. So we'll just see. If he plays, it'd be next week. I don't see him playing this week, but he's progressing, and for sure, I think the bowl game. A couple of those guys. Hopefully we're hopeful we can get maybe Marcus Tate back for the bowl, maybe Speck back for the bowl. Maybe a couple other guys, but that's Antonio, kind of same thing. So if he plays, it'd be next week. But for sure, we think we'll be ready for the bowl.
Becky from Gaffney asked, so I'll follow up just directly on any interest from you in the Texas A&M job.
Oh, yeah, Becky. She's a star. She is a star. Man, I'm just focused on this job. Always have been, and just trying trying to find a way to beat North Carolina. That's it. Must be November. That's all I can say.